What is up, my dudes and the one girl who's just looking for another way to talk to me? This is Bikes, Beards, and Brews. Let's kick that intro. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we kick this one off, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. New videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Just, you know, we're doing this. We are doing this. We are all in. Doing it. So anyway, today we're doing a bit of a review, but we're on the bike for it. Why? Because, well, I don't like hanging out in my little studio in the dungeon. I'd much rather be on the bike and riding. And yeah, I mean, we can really do this review, well, anywhere. So today we're talking about the Cardo Edge. That's right, my communicator. Now, I did a review on this not too long ago. Pop that link right there. And I told you that I would come back when I had more time, where I could really like play with it, use it, kind of get it out in some real world situations, and, you know, report back to you guys. So I think a lot of my opinion is pretty close to the same, but let's run right through this, shall we? And I will tell you the good, the bad, and if the Cardo Edge is right for you, and if not, what is. So first and foremost, the Cardo Edge is honestly, I think, pretty sure it's the most expensive comm in the Cardo lineup. So price wise, I'm gonna pop it right there, because off the top of my head I can't remember. I want to say it's close to like 350, 360, maybe kind of tickling that 400 range, but you know, I want to be accurate for the sake of the review. Obviously, the later you watch this review, the more likely that the price has changed. This is during the summer of 2022. Let's put that car anywhere, stupid. Oh, I hate you. You are dumb. So first and foremost, if you've used Cardo in the past, you'll be very familiar with a lot of stuff on the Edge. It doesn't really stray from a lot of the stuff that was there previous. So in the past, I've used the Cardo Packtalk Slim. And so this comm itself is very different to me, because the Cardo Packtalk Slim, it's very like flush to the helmet. It just has rubber covered buttons. It doesn't have the wheel that's on the side here. It's not removable, just certain things like that. It is a very useful unit, and I still recommend that one as well. But this one kind of really jumps ahead. So I mentioned it before, this one uses 40mm speakers. In the past, Cardo has used 40mm pretty much on all their devices, with the exception of a few. And I can honestly say that these speakers versus my Cardo Packtalk Slim, which use the exact same like size speakers, completely different. The sound profiles on this are just more robust. The speakers are louder and clearer, and it just sounds better overall. I did a couple 1K in a days. I rode the tail of the dragon. I have put thousands of miles on this comm since purchasing it. I have linked up with a few friends that also had Cardos, different models, and I've tested out, like, you know, the connectivity and all that. I will say right out of the gate, originally, when Dave, who you've seen on my channel plenty of times, and I linked up on our Cardos, he's on the Packtalk Slim, I'm on the Edge. We did have some connectivity issues. Like, there were times where I'd kind of blank out and drop out on him. And at that point in time, I was like, oh man, what have I done? I just bought a really expensive comm that doesn't work. However, one of the great things about this comm is it does over-the-air updates, which previous Cardos did not do. Which basically means whenever I open the app, if there is an update for the Cardo, it'll say, hey, got an update, you want to run this right now? And you just hit yes, and I've run 2 updates now. 2 updates seem like kind of a lot, but honestly, this is a brand new product. So with anything else brand new, they're gonna work out the kinks and the bugs right out of the gate. So I ran 2 updates. The first one when I first bought it, the second one maybe about a month ago. Since then, Dave and I have gone back and linked up again and tried again, and it was much more successful. There were no like drops and disconnects and stuff like that. So it might have been Dave's comm because he had not run an update ever on his. It might have been this one needing a bug worked out. I honestly cannot say. When I was down in North Carolina, I rode with my buddy Doyle, who just bought a brand new Packtalk Bold, and we had no communication issues whatsoever, and that was tearing through the Smoky Mountains, going through the tail of the dragon. So a lot of blind turns, a lot of times where we got a little bit separated, a lot of big granite walls and trees and interference and stuff like that. But we always had a nice solid connection, and it worked great. So I can safely say that this comm does integrate well with other Cardos. How does it work with the Bluetooth connection going to like a Senna or something like that? I don't know. I haven't had any friends with mixed comms that I could test that with, so I honestly just cannot tell you that part. So let's talk battery life. I've had this on for well over 12 hours, and I had it on pretty loud. This was when I was down south with my buddy Doyle. Doyle is kind of quiet on his microphone, so I had this thing turned up all the time. So we're talking 12 hours at full blast, and first and foremost, sounded great. I could hear Doyle no problem, and like I said, 12 hours kept going. I made it a point when we made stops along the way, I would not shut down my Cardo. I would just leave it running. So when we stopped to go get lunch, or we stopped to get a drink or something like that, just left that Cardo on, sitting on my bike, and just let it go. So when I'm saying 12 hours, I mean 12 hours. Now, towards the end of the day, Doyle started getting battery notices for his Cardo Packtalk Bold. I will say with that, we went like another hour and his comm kept going. I mean, it kept bugging him about a battery, but that was awesome because I've used comms in the past where they give you like 1 notice or 2 notices and then they just shut off. His just kept going. Like 45 minutes later, it was just like, seriously, are you listening to me? Am I talking just to myself? I mean, it just kept going and saying, hey dude, I'm about to die. Mine did not do that. So I can safely say the Cardo Packtalk Edge, the battery life on this thing crushes the battery life on a Cardo Packtalk Bold, because I never even got to the point of a low battery warning. One of the other cool things about battery warnings and battery statuses, my Packtalk Slim did not do this. When I shut off the Cardo Packtalk Edge, I get some musical tones and all that, and then it tells me what my battery percentage is. So unless you're shutting off your helmet and like ripping off right away, or you're shutting off the comm after you take off your helmet, you will always know the status of your battery and where you are at with it. And that is fantastic, because there's never going to be that time where you're on the road and you're like, oh man, did I charge my comm? Is it going to die halfway through my ride? This thing is legit, man. Battery is solid as hell, runs forever, and it always lets you know where you're at. With that being said as well, if you're somehow the person who just does not charge your battery like ever, and it is the day of the ride, and you were just about to run out the door and you realized, oh man, I have not charged this thing, you can plug it in for 20 minutes and get 2 hours of talk time. That's pretty legit. So I mean, depending on the size of the tank on your bike, if you're just straight riding, 2 hours is like a tank of gas. And then you can plug it in again if you need be. I'm fairly certain you could also plug it in and have it running while it is going. I haven't tried it yet because, again, I charge this thing and it just goes. I've not been in a situation where I'm like, man, I really need to like charge this thing on the fly. It has been so reliable. When I first started with this, the microphone, I know that Dave had a little bit of trouble hearing me, stuff like that. So I did reposition the mic a little bit. I got it more directly in front of me in this helmet. Since then, I've had a whole lot less of people going, what? Huh? What? So I would say the mic is solid as all hell as well. I use the one that just sticks to the inside of the helmet. The communicator comes with a boom mic or just a full helmet mic. Use either one, doesn't matter to me. They're both fantastic. I actually use the boom mic on my Cardo Packtalk Slim because that's in my modular helmet, so it just makes sense to do that. Connecting with other users. Okay, so I know I said in my last review that I was going to read all the instructions and get to know the communicator, but at the end of the day, I didn't do that. I'm a guy, what do you expect? So this actually hindered me a bit, because one day Dave and I were out, we hooked up with another one of our friends that had a new Cardo Packtalk Edge. Actually, when we were trying to link all three of us, Dave was kind of left out in the cold. So that was my fault. What I would do is I would hit, like, you know, the two buttons and start pairing, meshing, whatever you want to call it. Every single time Dave got left out, and every time I tried to pair again, Dave would get left out. So what I did wrong there was, when you go into the app on your phone, Cardo has an app, you should definitely download it. Again, that's how you get your updates, and there's a lot of other cool little features in there, including, we'll get back to that. When you open up your app, there's just one little button that says add a rider to this group. When you're not trying to do a new group, when you're not trying to build or create a new group, which I don't do because I don't care. So if you hit add a rider and that rider starts pairing, they will get absorbed into your group. If you don't do that, every time you like do the two button thing and you're just trying to do, you know, connect with people, you're creating a new group. So at some point in time, you're gonna look at your app and see that you have like 700 new groups. And that's gonna suck. Once somebody is paired to you though, they're paired, you guys are bonded, you're good, you never have to go through that again. If you have multiple groups though, you do have to go back to the app and go back to the group that that person has been paired into. So say like Dave and I are in group number 1, and then later on I create group number 2 and I've got Doyle in there but not Dave. If group number 2 is active, when I shut off my communicator, when I come home, when I go hang out with Dave again and I turn my communicator back on, by default it starts up in group 2. I have to go to my app, hit group 1, and then Dave will be connected to me again. That's a thing. Not a really big deal to me. And again, if you don't want to do this, just create one group and just keep adding people to it. You can add an exponentially large amount of people to your group and have just this huge mesh going on. It is an exorbitantly large amount of riders can be in one group. So many that honestly, if you had a group that big, it would be horrible, because that is way too many people to be all talking and listening and jumping in at the same time. So it really doesn't matter if you just keep dumping everyone into the same group, unless for some reason you're one of those people who like everything very separated, or have other reasons, I don't know. Me personally, everyone in one group is fine. Now, I've also used this communicator to make phone calls, listen to the radio, listen to podcasts, and listen to my music off of YouTube Music. It sounds great inside my helmet. It really does. Podcasts are great. I can hear what everyone's saying. If I need a quick volume boost, the wheel is highly accessible, and I just jog it up or down, and louder or quiet, no problem. One touch on the wheel, you can mute what's going on. So I mean, it is a very, very useful tool to have, and it is very glove friendly and just very friendly to use in general. So this communicator also comes with voice recognition, where you can just call out commands. This works in a couple different ways. If you have an iPhone or an Android device, you can say, hey Google or hey Siri, and you can have them respond to you because your phone and your comm are connected. So stuff that you've gotten used to having Siri or Google do, it will continue to do. Same with like Alexa from Amazon. I don't know, pick a girl's name, associate it with a piece of software. This will communicate with it pretty well, actually. It also has its own assistant. So if you go into the app on the phone, you can program like an emergency contact number, a primary contact number, and a couple other things. You can program in radio stations, so you know you have your shortcuts. And then it's really just a voice command away. So you can say like, hey Cardo, call my primary, and it's going to call, you know, that first person that's on your list. You could say, hey Cardo, radio station 1, radio station 2, and it's going to go through your saved selections. And honestly, the antenna works pretty damn good on this for radio stations. I actually have a little stubby radio antenna on my bike because I don't like the giant whip one, and that will only pick up a radio station if I'm sitting under the radio tower holding the thing while I am wrapped in copper. This communicator actually catches radio stations within reason. So I mean, like, you know, if you're in Boston, don't be trying to pick up your San Fran radio station. It's just not going to happen. But it is there, and you know, for the one or two people that still listen to the radio, you have that option. So you're welcome. And again, you can stream stuff right off of your phone. So if you have like the iHeartRadio app or something like that, you can listen to your radio stations like that, or you know, whatever you use for podcasts, you can listen to those. So who should buy this communicator? Well, honestly, I'm sticking with my guns, the same people I recommended last time. If you're looking for cutting edge, brand new, like the newest thing, you just like to get new, and you know, you want stuff to be just, you know, slightly better, because like I said, the mics on this work better, the speakers work better, like it just works better than previous models. Not saying that previous models are bad in any way, shape, or form. They are solid as hell, but these, you do have the advancement of technology with this device. Who is this device not for? Honestly, if you've just got one or two friends that you communicate with, that you want to talk to, you know, bike to bike, whatever, you're not going to go into any sort of large groups. You don't find yourself on a highway a lot, so you don't need to crank up the sound. You know, stuff that's a little bit quieter, or you know, just smaller. There are a lot of good, cheaper options that Cardo have, like the Freecom. If you want to know more about the Freecom, check out my buddy Kode Gray. He actually did a really good review on the Freecom. Some of the drawbacks to that is I think you can only have like 3 or 4 people in your group. It's a little quieter. I'm not sure if it's 100% waterproof. Don't quote me on that. Check out Kode Gray. he does a great review on it. I'll link his video down below. It's also not for people who don't want to really drop that much money on a communicator, but still want to have a lot of robust options. I mentioned it in the last video, touched on it a little bit here. The Cardo Packtalk Slim is still an excellent choice, and it's an excellent option. I will say, with the Packtalk Slim, I originally bought it because it was so flat to the helmet and I didn't want to get wind noise and drag and all that. This thing, no wind noise or drag. It is fantastic. I've been on the highway in the town of none of your business doing 90, and there is no drag on this thing. It is great. Slim, same thing. Whoop. Baby ducks. What's up? What's up, little ducks? Do your little ducky things. So yes, no drag on this communicator, so don't worry about that. So there are other options. As I said, you can get the Cardo Packtalk Slim, which is a very robust solution, and you know, you can have more people on it. Speakers go a little bit louder than like a Freecom. Technology's a little, like, there's more options to it. You can also go with the Cardo Packtalk Bold. If you're going to do the Cardo Packtalk Bold, I would highly recommend going out and finding the Cardo Packtalk Black. It is the exact same communicator, except it's all black, and it comes with 45mm speakers, which is an upgrade that they normally sell separately for about between $70 and $100. You can get the Cardo Packtalk Black for about $250. So that is getting a really cheap, really good piece of equipment with upgrades. That's a good option, guys. So some of the things I don't like about this communicator, because, you know, there's always going to be things. One of the things I didn't care for was brought to my attention by other people in my comment section for the last video. You guys were heard. I was paying attention to you. So one of the things that people brought up was the Cardo Packtalk Edge. Even though it communicates with other Cardos, no problem, and it can connect to them, you have to be the lead. And I'm not 100% sure on this, because normally I am the lead. I am the person creating the group. A lot of the feedback I got was, like, if you're with a friend that has a Cardo Packtalk Slim, you don't join his group, he joins yours. So, I mean, I could see that as being annoying, but honestly, again, I tend to lead the pack when it comes to creating, like, you know, the links, the communication, all that stuff. So this has not affected me. I also keep forgetting to test it with, like, other people that have Cardos. So it may not be the case after an update or two. I'm not 100% sure, but I did want to put that out there because that is something that you should know. Other things you should know are the Packtalk is completely waterproof. I definitely tested that when I drove through a rainstorm on the Smoky Mountains. So they advertise it as so, and I've put it through the paces. It's waterproof. You do want to make sure the little rubber grommet boot that the USB-C plug is behind is sealed correctly. Like, make sure it's closed. I've seen so many people not put it back right, so the boot's just kind of like swinging in the wind. I'd like to imagine that makes it a little less waterproof, so pay attention to that. Overall, I don't really have any complaints for the way that I have used this communicator. Any issues that I have run into were honestly my fault for not paying attention to the instructions and not taking the time to learn how to use the Cardo. If you use the Cardo correctly, if you take the time to learn it, this is a very robust piece of technology that I thoroughly enjoy. Now, here's where we get to the disclaimer parts. When I first bought this Cardo, I bought it with my own money. There were no deals, there were no promises, there was nothing free sent to me. There was nothing. I bought this because I like Cardo. I've used Cardo in the past, and I want to stay with Cardo. and I like getting the newest technology. So my original review was completely me spending my money and testing it and telling you about it. So there have been some changes since the first review, and I want to be very transparent and crystal clear with all this. Cardo reached out to me after seeing my initial review. They said they liked it a lot, and they asked me if I wanted to do their ambassador program. Now, normally I don't do stuff like this because honestly I haven't been offered ambassador program stuff from products that I like and I use. I've turned down many, but I have not had any. When Cardo approached me, I said, hell yeah, I'll do that. Because again, I really like Cardo, I really like the product. Now, they've not given me any refunds or anything like that, and they still have yet to send me anything free for my reviews. So these are still my reviews from devices that I bought with my own money. The difference is I now have an ambassador code, referral code thing that I can put down below. If you choose to go buy a Cardo while using that link, it doesn't even have to be the Cardo Edge. I get a little money out of the deal. I'm okay with that. I think you get a discount with it. Honestly, I'm doing this review right here, right now, before I've finalized all the referral code stuff. So I can't give you the exact numbers, but if you look down in the description, it's all there and it's all spelled out. But I did want to be very clear with you on that. But yes, I've accepted an ambassadorship from Cardo. And again, that was pretty much a no-brainer for me because I really enjoy Cardo and I really enjoy the product that I get from them. And the people that I recommend it to seem to like it as well. So that makes me feel better knowing that it's not just me. So I have my wife and her dad are in Cardo Packtalk Slims that I bought for them. Dave is in a Cardo Packtalk Slim. Doyle is in a Packtalk Bold. And everyone seems to enjoy them and are good with them. So I am comfortable recommending them to you. So check out that link below. See if it saves you some money. I hope this review has helped you out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this video with friends, share it with family, share it with that one dork you know who's like, oh, I really wish I had a way to talk to people. Now they do. And I will see you all on the flip side.